Okay, so this is the February 4th homework, inequalities, division and multiplication. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So it's 6a less or equal to 42. So we divide both sides by 6. Okay, you cancel on the left side, so you're left with a less or equal then 42 divided by 6. So how many times 6 going to 42? 6, 7 times. Okay, so it's a less or equal than 7. Okay, next one is negative 3b less or equal than 44. This one, we're going to read it from this side. It really doesn't matter. So let's get rid of the negative 3. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. Negative 3, okay? So here is going to cancel. You're left with b. The negative 3 cancel the negative 3. When you divide by negative, so when you multiply or divide by negative number, you switch the inequality symbols, okay? So now it used to be like that. I'm going to switch it like this, okay? And then I just have to do 44 divided by 3. 44 divided by 3, and I get 14.66. This is 14.66. And a positive divided by negative is a negative. So this is a negative 14.66, okay? All right, let's do this one. Let me write it bigger, probably help to see. Less or equal to 1. So I need to get rid of that negative 5. So I multiply both sides by negative 5, okay? Both sides by negative 5. And you can see here I'm multiplying by a negative. I have to switch the inequality symbol. So I just multiplied by negative. Let's switch it. And then here is going to cancel. I'm left with c greater or equal. And 1 times 5 is 5. And a positive times a negative is a negative. Okay. Let's do this one here. We have to divide both sides by 5 to get rid of that 5. 5, it's not a negative number. So I'm not switching the inequality symbol. I only switch it when I multiply or divide by negative. So here, the 5 cancels. You're left with d. Symbol stays the same. And 125 divided by 5 is 25. Okay? All right? All right, so let's do number 5 through number 8. Okay, let me write it bigger. Makes it easier to see. So this is e over 5 less than negative 20. This is 55f less or equal to 110. This is g over negative 120 less than negative 3. And this negative 12h greater than negative 144. Okay, so it's a division here. The opposite are multiplying by 5 both sides. Okay, I multiplied by a positive number. Nothing happens to the inequality symbol. It stays exactly the same. Here it canceled, and you're left with e less. 20 times 5 is 100, and a negative times a positive is a negative. So e less than negative 100. Here again, I'm going to divide both sides by 55. Here it cancels. I divided by positive, so nothing happens to the inequality. It stays the same, and this is f. And 110 divided by 5 is 2. So this is a number less or equal than 2. Here, we're going to start messing with a negative number. So I need to get rid of the divide by negative 20. The opposite is multiply by negative 20. I do that to both sides. I just multiplied by negative, which means I have to switch the inequality symbol. Here it cancel. I'm left with g. And negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 20 is 60, so positive 60, okay? And here I gotta divide again by a negative number, negative 12, which means I have to switch the inequality symbol. Here it cancels, I'm left with h, and 144 divided by 12, I think that's 12, right? A negative divided by negative is a positive, and 144 divided by 12 is 12. Okay, All right, number 9 says, do the two inequalities have the same solutions? Well, to get that answer, let's solve them first. So let me write it bigger. Negative 7j less than 21, and here is 7j less than negative 21. Let's solve it. Here I'm going to divide by negative 7, both sides. Since I divided by negative, I have to switch, and this cancels, and I'm left with j. 21 divided by 7 is 3, and a net positive divided by negative is a negative. This is positive, right? So let's see what this one's going to give me. So here I divide both sides by 7. Since I'm dividing with a positive, the inequality symbol stays the same. And here cancels, I'm left with j. And negative 21 divided by 7 is negative 3. So this one says any number bigger than negative 3. Okay? Here is the opposite. Say any number smaller than negative 3. So the solutions are different. So if you will graph the solution for each one, you got negative 3 here. We got negative 4, negative 2. And this one, negative 3, negative 4, negative 2. And we graph them. Here it says bigger means anything to the right, anything bigger to negative 3. But for this one here, it says the opposite. Anything smaller. So the solutions here are to the left. Anything to the left. Here, the solution is anything to the right. So these two inequalities have different answers. They're not the same. They actually have opposite answers. All right, next one. Hector wants to buy 5 baseball caps. He has $65. What is the most each cap can cost? So we don't know what the cap costs. Let's put X. How many he wants to buy? 5 of them. And how much money he has? $65. So he has to be less or equal to $65. So 5 times X has to be less than 65. So let's solve it. 5x less than 65. Divide both sides by 5. Here it cancels. So x has to be less or equal than 13, right? Or 15. 13. So how much each cap can cost? The most each cap can cost is $13. So you'll get 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13. You can buy 5 caps. Each one costs $13. Okay. Number 11, it says the cleaning service charges $15 per hour. Miss Henriksen is hiring the cleaning server but does not want to spend more than 75 hours. What's the maximum number of hours that she can hire? Okay, so we're gonna write an inequality. We have $75 to spend, or he has $75 to spend. So we can't be more than that. So it has to be less or equal than 75. And the agency charges $15 per hour. Remember, we multiply hour. We don't know how many hours. So it's $15 per hour, and we want to be 75 or less. So 15x less or equal than 75. How many hours can she hire them for? We have to solve it. Divide both sides by 15. Here it cancels. So the number of hours has to be less or equal than, what is that? 55 hours, right? Because 15 times 5 is 75. So the maximum she can hire them for is 5 hours. So anything less or equal than 5 hours. All right, based on the money that he has or she has, Mr. Henderson. So I guess it's a he. All right, so that's 11. Let's look at the last one, which is 12. The cafeteria tables can each seat 8 students. The first line staff shift will have 125 students. How many tables does the cafeteria need in order for every student in the first shift to have a seat? Okay, so table can, so how many, do you want to know how many tables, right? How many tables, right? So how many tables based that, so the tables, let's put X. We don't know how many X, but we know it's 8 students per table. Let me write that here, 8 students, that word per again, per table. We have 8 students per table. We translate that, per is multiply, table, we don't know how many tables. So 8 multiply X. So 8 multiply X, 8 per table. The first line will have 125 students. So let's see if we have to be less or more. The cafeteria table counts 8 students. The first shift, how many tables does the cafeteria need in order for the students? Okay, so they didn't say this could be an equation. We could put it as an inequality, but it could be an equation equals to 125. And then we solve it, divide both sides by 8, cancels here. So X, how many tables is 125 divided by 8? So what's 125 divided by 8? Is 15.625. So 15 tables, 0.625. Well, we need more than 15 tables. So we need 16 tables. Because 15 tables is not going to be enough. So we need 16 tables, okay? And if you want to put it as an inequality, you could put it as either less or equal or greater or equal. It doesn't matter, okay? I'd much rather have it greater or equal, okay? And then we get an answer here that X greater or equal to 15.625. But then it cannot be in decimal. You can't take a table and break it, okay? So you need more than 15 tables, which means you need 16 tables. You can't take a table and break it into 0.625, okay? All right, so that's the homework.